guys, yasas que kalosir tata to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're going to be making a Mediterranean white bean dip. It's going to be flavored with feta cheese and sun-dried tomatoes. It's going to be garlicky and so good. Perfect for dipping veggies or pita bread or pita chips, whatever you like. You could even use it as a spread. Let's get started. So I'm using a food processor to make this just so that way the dip can be ultra smooth and creamy. In the food processor, I'm going to start with 2 garlic cloves. You can do 1 if you don't want it too garlicky. And I'm going to pulse them until they're very finely minced. Next, I have some sun-dried tomatoes that are packed in olive oil. You need about a 1/4 cup of them, so that's about 6 sun-dried tomatoes, and I always buy them in olive oil because they stay really nice and soft. So I'll put most of these in here, and I'll just save 2 or 3 so I can use them as a garnish. And I'm also going to drop this oil in here because this is flavor. And I'm going to pulse that until these are nice and minced. And over here I have a can which is about 15 ounces. This is, 15 ounces of Great Northern beans. You can use cannellini beans or the Great Northern beans or whatever your favorite white beans are. If you're using them straight out of a can, you want to make sure that you rinse them with cool water a few times and that they're nice and drained. I like to do it in the can with the lid on top just because I don't feel like dirtying one more thing. Inside the food processor they go. Now you have to make sure that the beans are cooked, so do that. If you want to use garbanzo beans, it can make a nice hummus, so that's another option. And then I have 4 ounces of feta cheese, so you can just crumble it in. Never buy the already crumbled feta cheese. It's very bad quality, and it takes just a few seconds to crumble it yourself. Then I'm going to add a little pinch of crushed red pepper flakes, and I'm going to pulse it until the beans are smooth. And you always want to scrape down the sides of the mixer because sometimes you get bits of garlic or tomato that like to stick. But it is pretty smooth as is, just like that. I really like to thin out the dip by adding more flavor, so I'm going to add about 3 to 4 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice. And you know I always go with the 4 tablespoons rather than the 3 because I like it lemony. And I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of water. A little pinch of salt. You don't need too much because there's already feta cheese in here that's super salty. And some dried oregano. About a 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon. It's up to you. You can substitute rosemary if you want, fresh or dried rosemary. And puree that. Time to take a taste. Very good, but it does need a little bit more salt for my taste. And that should be good. You can make it as thin or as thick as you like by controlling the amount of water and lemon juice that's added. So you can go ahead and add a little bit at a time. I really love the lemon juice. So if I'm going to sacrifice liquid, it's going to be the water. So I'm going to transfer it to a serving dish. And I like to garnish it with a drizzling of extra virgin Greek olive oil, cold pressed, the best kind of olive oil that you can find. I'm going to also sprinkle some capers on top for nice pickled flavor. Just a few crushed red pepper flakes. I have these 2 sun-dried tomatoes that I've reserved. I'm just going to slice them in half and just go ahead and put them all around the dip. And then I'm going to crumble a little bit of feta cheese on top. You can use Kalamata olives instead of capers if you like. And that's it. There you have it. The dip is just ready in like 15 minutes or less. You can serve this with some warm toasted pita bread, some sliced bell peppers, cucumbers, or even beets, whatever vegetables you have laying around. This is a great dip for those vegetables. It is time to take a bite, and I'm just gonna dip some whole wheat bread that I've toasted in here. I wanna make sure I get a caper. So much flavor. The lemon juice brightens it up. The I keep calling them roasted tomatoes. The sun-dried tomatoes give a little bit of sweetness. If you don't like sun-dried tomatoes, you could either leave them out or substitute some roasted red peppers. That would be good in here too. And if you want to leave it vegan, just leave out the feta and just add all the other ingredients. It's going to be super delicious just the way it is, but it is going to need a little bit more salt because the feta does add lots of salt. However you make it, let me know how you're going to do it in the comment section down below. You can get the printed recipe with all the exact measurements in the description box. www.dimitrasdishes.com is the website where you find all of my recipes. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes,